Good morning, students. I welcome you all in the first lecture of PPS. We will proceed from our Unit 1. This is the course content of your Unit 1 that we will cover, that I have elaborated you before in the subject PPT. Firstly, we will go with the definition of computer, that what is a computer. Um, from the childhood, you are learning that computer is an electronic machine. Okay. Yes, this is right. A computer is an electronic device which is taking instruction from the user, process it, and execute it accordingly. That means whatsoever the instruction that will be provided by the user, computer will give you output accordingly to that. If we consider the full form of the computer is C stands for common, O for operating, M for machine, P for particularly, U for useful, T for trade, E for education and entertainment, R for research. According to the functionality, computers are classified into three categories. First is the analog computers, where you can get the output in the form of waveforms. If we consider the example of ECG machine, then it is also one form of computer that will give you output in the analog form. Then is the digital computer. The digital computer which will give you output in the form of digits. If we consider the counter over the traffic lights, then it is also one form of computer. There is a one processor is there, that is the example of digital computer. Then the hybrid computer, where you are getting both analog signals as well as your digital output. Then these are the characteristics of computer. First is the speed. Computer work at a very fast pace that you don't have to wait much for the output. Then is the accuracy. Computer give you accurate result, but I will add one thing. It will give you accurate result, but it will depend upon the input by the user. If you are providing wrong input to the computer, then it will not give you accurate result. It will give you accurate result only when the user gave the right input. Then the diligence. Diligence is a computer is free from tiredness. Computer never get fatigue. Then is the versatility. That means computer can perform different type of work. It is versatile. Then comes the next characteristic is power of remembering. Computer has the power of storing any amount of information of data. You say how much GB is there, the size of the hard disk is there, the size of RAM is there. Because computer can store the data, so we may say that computer can store the data is there, and it has the power of remembrance is there. If I consider the characteristic storage is there, a storage means computer has the inbuilt memory where it can store large amount of data, so it can remember the data. No IQ is there. Basically computer is a dumb machine, and it cannot do any work without the instruction from the user. Only the user will give the instruction to the computer, then only the computer can work. No feeling. Computer don't have any feelings or emotions, taste, knowledge and experiences there. Then comes the storage. I have concerned storage with the power of remembering. So here I can say that computer has some built-in memory where it can store. Here comes some applications of computer system. First is the education. Then in the department of health, you can also use computer. Then science, in the business, entertainment, in government agencies, in the defense, as well as in the sports, you can use the computer system. These are the various applications. Now next is, then comes the advantages of computer. With the computer, It will increase your productivity. It can store massive amounts of information and reduce the waste. It connects you to the internet. It helps you to sort, organize, and search through information. It improves your abilities, improve your employment options, can help automate and monitor. It saves your time. It keeps you entertained. These are the advantages of the computer. Disadvantages are unemployment, because some work is human work is replaced by the usage of computer, so it has increased unemployment. Wastage of time and energy, some people spend lot of time in front of computer, then it will be considered as waste of time and energy is there. Data security, sometimes data breaching is possible when you use the internet, so it could be possible that your data would not be secure. So data security is one of the issue and comes under the disadvantage. Then the cyber crime is there, privacy violation is there. So you are typing your password and someone has hacked your password and revealed your private content. That is called the privacy violation. Then is the health risk is there. If you spend a lot of time in front of your computer, then it may strain on your eyes. Coming to the next topic, that is called the block diagram of computer. That is very much important topic, that how the computer system will work. Here comes your computer system or your block diagram. It is divided into various blocks. As we go with the definition of computer, we said that computer is an electronic machine which takes the data from the user, process the data, and provide the output. If we say it take input from the user, then it will be taken by the input unit. Fine. If I will say there is processing of data. Processing of data means you are having one CPU where some units have been hooked on that will process your data. Okay. And then you get the output. If I okay, let's consider with the block diagram of computer. Here if we go with the basic definition that computer, what is the block diagram, how it is concerned with our basic. If I say the input will be taken from the user, input will be taken from the user, then there is some processing is there, then is the output is there. Firstly, if I say the input is from the user, then by what means the user can give the input? The input can be given by some input devices. If I consider the input devices here, then what are the various input devices by which user can give the input? If I say keyboard is there, mouse is there, light pen is there. These are the various type, or I say microphone is there. I am giving an input to you. Okay. And if you respond to my input, then it will be considered as output. Okay. This is the input. Input will be given by input devices. Here I have written only few examples. There are a lot of input devices that will be get elaborated here. Okay. Then I said processing. The processing contain storage unit and central processing unit, that is your CPU. Okay. Firstly, I will explain output, then I will come to the processing. You have given your input. Suppose you have typed anything from your keyboard. Then how it will be get processed? It will be processed by the CPU and you will get the output. The output will be in the form of, that means on your monitor. Monitor is an output device. Yes. it will be in the form of printout. So printer is an output device. If I am using microphone is there, then speaker is an input device. Okay. These are sort of, I will write here one other example that is called plotter is there. Plotter means, sometimes you say, you can see various type of long pamphlets are there. Okay. Various maps are there, which is very large in size, is we consider the A4 page of the computer. Then plotters are used there. Then plotter is also one form of printer, but we will say here plotter is also an input device. Then I will come to the processing. If I say processing is there, firstly, there is storage devices. Means you have given your input to the computer, it goes to the storage devices where your value has been stored either in the secondary storage devices or in the primary storage devices. If I consider the primary storage devices is, I said example, I'm taking here example of RAM is there. That is primary storage device. If I say secondary storage device, I say USB is there, your pen drive is there. Okay, where your input will be get stored. Suppose you have stored any sort of program, I will write a C program and stored in my USB. This is the way where you can store in your secondary. So you are writing your C program here and stored in your USB. Or for you to more understand, you have written one Word file, MS Word file and stored in your USB. Now you want to open or you want to edit your MS Word file. Okay. What will you do? You will connect your USB to some port of your CPU and then you will open your MS Word. Basically, what happened there, either you have stored your content in your secondary storage device, it will come to the primary storage device first. That means whatsoever you will open, either it is in the primary or secondary, it will come to the primary. If it is in the primary, then fine. But if it is in any secondary storage device, either in the CD is there, hard drive is there, then it will come to your primary, then your program will open. Then this is the storage devices where your input will be stored. Then what will be happen to that file? It will go to the CPU. In the CPU, there is further, that is control unit is there, that is called CO. Control unit, basically this is a processor. Control unit, I said CPU means I'm using the abbreviation as central processing unit. If the word processing is there, processing is done by processor. Generally, when we go to purchase any computer system, we said how many bits are in a processor. Latest in the market, one is 120-bit processor is there, 64-bit processor is there, 32-bit processor is there. Okay, that are the obsolete processors. Currently, we are in a 128-bit processor is there. That means that processor will process your input whatsoever you will give. Then there is arithmetic and logic unit. If any sort of calculation is required, then it will be done by the arithmetic and logic unit. Basically, if we go with the processor, then the concept of processor is a little bit long, that how the processing will go on. Here I will tell you. If I'm writing here, what is the difference between bits, that I'm telling you 8-bit processor is there, 16-bit processor is there, 32-bit, 64-bit, latest is 128 bits. What does it mean? That means if I'm talking about 8-bit processor, then how many memory address locations could be there? That will be 2 raised to power 8, 2 raised to power 16, 2 raised to power 32. That means you can check out the capacity of locations in your processor. If I consider 2 raised to power 128, you can imagine how many bits could be there, memory locations could be there. So if we talk simply about your mobile phone, then we will generate what is the configuration of the mobile phone, which type of processor is there. Sometimes it is said that a 64-bit processor, Qualcomm processor is there. These processor means it will depend upon the bit size, how many bit processor is there, and that capacity will depend upon how you can store your software or your processor. Suppose you are having your 16-bit processor and you are going to install any software which supports 32-bit, then it won't be possible here. Same with the case with the turbo. If I am saying that I am going to use turbo here, turbo is not supported by the Windows 7 or latest versions. Whatsoever the versions have been revealed after the Windows 7 or after that, turbo is not supported by that. If you install the turbo, you will install the DOS box. Then you can run your turbo. On your system, you must have your Windows 10 on your system. Even I am having Windows 10 on my system. But I have installed turbo, but the thing that is running on my system is that is DOS box is running on my system. Turbo is not running on my system. That is the concept of processor. Basically, when you give the input, I said processing is there. What happened in the processing? First, say there is a storage is there. Your input will be get stored. Then there is some processing will be there. That processing will depend upon which type of processor you are having. The control units contains some timing signals. Okay, some address lines, some data lines are there. That is the whole configuration of the processor is there. Basically, processor is one sort of chip is there. If I am saying, I will give you one another example. If I am saying I'm working off 8-bit processor, I said I will do 8 to the power 8 is there. What are 8 is there? 8 are address lines. Oh, sorry, data lines are there. 8 are data lines. Means how much data my processor can take. It can take 1 byte data. 1 byte is equal to 8 bits. It can only accept the data that is of 8 bits. Okay. And how many address lines are there? I said this will be your address locations. Address lines is 2 raised to the power 8 will be your address lines. Okay. If I say processor, then processor is a chip which is generally developed by Intel or AMD. These are the main companies who manufactured your processor. Okay. These type of pins are there. I'm writing a very rough layout here. Okay. I'm saying 8-bit processor, data lines 8. Here will be D1, D2, D3, D4, D5, D6, D7, D8 are there. I said I want to enter here 8. The 8 means if I convert this 8 into binary, it will be 1 0 0 0 0 0 0. This is the binary format of 8. Why I have prefixed 4 zeros before the 8? Because the binary of 8 is 1 0 0 0. But this is my 8-bit processor. It will accept 8-bit input. So I have to amend 4 bits before your number. If I say any number which will be 1 0 0 0 0 0, if I will give this number to 8-bit processor, your output will be wrong. Your input will depend upon which type of processor will be there, then the processing will work accordingly, and then you will get the output. You cannot give the value beyond the limit of the processor. This is the main working of your processor and the main role of your processor in your computer system. So if we talk about data is there, you can find out when you give the input, you will give the raw data. Suppose I am writing one, I will give you again the input of your data, that sometime you will get the question that what is the difference between your data and information. If I say I have to write my name, as my name is Neha is there, that is easily understandable to you, that I have written a word that is Neha is there. If I write here ANHE, for you these are just the letters. This is not giving any meaning to you. This is giving a meaning to you that it could be name of someone. ANHE, this is not giving you meaning. Okay, that means this will be my data. When it will be get processed, it will become information, and the information will be my name. ANHE will be, I will consider ANHE as a data, then processing is there, then it will become a name, and that name will become an information. Similarly, if you look at the block diagram of the computer over the PPT, there is a one input unit where you are getting the data, then there is a processing of data, and then you are getting the information is there. This is a detail that I have given you in the lecture, that data is the raw material which is unprocessed for data processing. It is normally entered by input devices into computer, and it can be in any form, either usable or not. The information is data that have been processed. It can be useful for the person receiving since it brings meaning. It can understand by the user. Meaningful data is information, and raw material is your data. Input unit is, this is the process of entering data and programs in the computer system via some input devices. Then comes the storage unit. It is used for saving data and instruction permanently, is known as storage. Data has to be fed into the system before the actual processing start. Then comes the processing unit. In the processing unit, the task of performing operation like arithmetic and logical operation is called the processing. Then comes the output unit. This is the process of producing results from the data for getting some useful information. Then comes the computer hardware. Computer hardware means the physical components of the computer that you can touch or feel. That is called the computer hardware. The things that we can build is the CPU, computer memory, that is in the form of RAM, and ROM, that is in the form of chip is there. Data buses are there. Data bus means the number of wires that are connected in your CPU are called buses. Okay, buses means the wires that are in the CPU are known as buses. Then some ports are there. Ports means where you plug in your devices like USB. Sometime you put in your keyboard by using the port. You plug in your mouse by using the CPU ports, that are called the ports. Then motherboard is there in the CPU. Hard disk is there. Output devices and some input devices. That are all the physical components of the computer system that you can feel. Then comes the system software. It constitutes all the set of programs that are required for efficient management of the computer system and provide an environment for developing application software. What does software means? That means set of program. Okay, where that provide you one sort of environment. If I'm talking about turbo is one sort of one form of environment is there where you can write your program. Okay, that is called the system software. The prominent program that comes under system software are operating system, editors, debuggers, compilers, and interpreters. Before moving to the system software, I will tell you basically we are having two type of software. One is called the system software, other is called the application software. Here I will give you very general example that is related to your real life. You all are using your mobile phones. Okay, if I say where you are finding my video lecture, you will go to the YouTube. Okay, YouTube is one sort of app is there. WhatsApp is there. Okay, I will write some apps name. Zoom is there firstly. YouTube is there. WhatsApp is there. These are all we are using general term. Whether this app is available on your mobile phone, we are using app is available. App means any program, okay, that you are using according to your usage. Could be possible you are having WhatsApp on your system and I don't have WhatsApp on my system because I don't want to use it. It will depend upon the usage of the user whether he want to install this particular application or not. And this application has been designed into and various languages. Sometimes the app is developed in C, sometimes in C++, in Python, or various frameworks it has been developed. Okay, these are your application software. Then we talk about system software. If you look at your, you may say that on your PPT, then you can find out there are some examples. Operating system editors, debuggers, compilers, interpreters are there. Okay, I will give you here a simple example where you will install these apps. These apps are generally installed on your phone, whether you may have Android phone or you may have iOS. iPhone could be there. If I say which type of operating system is in your mobile, because I have Android phone, I have iOS in my system. These are the operating system. Can you install the app without installing Android or iOS in your system? The answer is no. Which thing is mandatory to install? System software is very much mandatory to install on your system. Then only you can use the apps over there. So, firstly, when we talk about system software, when we talk about system software, there is first is the operating system. Here I have given you one example that operating system means your Windows, your Android, your iOS, your Linux, your Unix is your operating system. And what does the definition says? It says operating system is an interaction between user and hardware. Okay. Then comes the editors. Editor means where you can edit your file. Here I also given a simple example. MS Word is an editor. Notepad is an editor. Okay, where you can write and modify your files or edit your file is called an editor. Then comes a debugger. Debugger means where you can find the errors, which helps you to find an error is there. All sort of errors that are encountered during program development are known as bugs. The word that we will use for errors are called bugs. And the process of identifying those errors and fixing them is called debugging. Right? The process, what does debugging mean? To find an error and how to fix it. That is called debugging. There are some sort of error that you must know while learning your C programming, that which type of error you are having. First is the syntax error, then comes the logical error, then comes the runtime error. I will come to these type of error in the next session, okay? And I will tell you which type of error is there. What does it mean? What is syntax error? What is logical error? What is runtime error? Okay. Then comes the compiler. C is compiler based language. Your C++ is compiler based language. Okay. What does it mean? A compiler is one sort of program, okay, that will convert your high level language to machine language. Here I will give you a concept of high level language and machine language. If I say I'm writing here hash include, don't consider it as any language, just consider it I'm writing what I have written here, that is hash, special symbol is there is include is there, okay. Then I said, what does it mean in our English language? If any layman will say, include means to add. That means it can be understandable to us. That is called high level language, which can be understandable to the user. If I write this same code as ADS01, this is not understandable to you, but this is the machine language that is understandable only to the computer. Similarly, instead of machine language, if I write 001010, I will write something like this. This is the binary language. Again, it is not understandable to us. If I say the meaning of this binary language is to hash include, the meaning of ADS01 is hash include. These both things are not understandable to us. Okay. We can only understand the high level language. So in our programming, we will write in a high level language. And when this high level language is converted into machine language, I will write here, your high level language, when we convert it into machine language, it will be done by the compiler. Your compiler in C that we use is Turbo is the name of the compiler that will compile your code. Compile means, suppose I am writing here one line that is, this is not a program, but I am giving you an example. This is a program of C language to add numbers. Okay. Suppose this is my program that I want to learn, return, okay, that I have written. What the compiler will do, you will compile your code. I said this is my source code. In technical language, we will say this is my source code is there, which has been written in the, I will say this is written in the high level language. If I say what has been written, you can easily say this is a program of C language to add numbers. Then you will compile your source. When you will compile your source code, one compiler will be needed. Compiler name is Turbo. Turbo can be written in any language. Maybe it has written in Python, it has written in Java. It will depend upon in which language your compiler has been written. That will translate your code into machine language. Okay. Then comes the interpreter. Interpreter translate the source program into machine language line by line. Here comes the difference between compiler and interpreter. Here I have written compile your source code. Then instead of compiling, I will say interpreter will be used to compile your code. Then what is the difference between, if I say interpreter will also convert your high level language into machine language, then what is the difference between compiler and interpreter? Why I'm stressing over there that the turbo is one of the compiler is there. Here it will come as, if I say the common feature between compiler and interpreter, both will convert your high level to machine language. This is the common feature. The difference between compiler and interpreter is compiler will compile the code. That means it will convert your high level language to machine code as a whole. Means whatsoever has been written, if I consider this is my program of 4 lines, compiler will take the 4 lines as a whole, it will compile it, debug it, and give you an error if it is there. If error is there. But what the interpreter will do, it will compile, I will use the word interpret, that is more appropriate word. It will interpret the code line by line. Here I have written it compile the code as a whole. Here I am saying it will interpret the code line by line. Miss, again, if I consider this is my code of 4 lines, what the interpreter will do, suppose I have missed this arrow sign, and that is mandatory for me to write. That will be in the syntax. I have forgotten to write. What the interpreter will do, interpreter will check the first line. Yes, the word interpreter is there, that is right. Then it will check the second line. That is, high level is written, but the syntax is wrong. Arrow should be there. It will throw an error immediately at line 2. It will not check the other lines that have been written by me. Firstly, I have to rectify my error here, then I can move only to the next line. This is the interpreter. But if I will miss this code, the compiler will check the another line. The compiler will check the another line. At the end, compiler will give me an error. But interpreter will say, firstly, you have to rectify, then only you can write your code. Example of compiler is turbo. Here, example of interpreter is Python. Python language, Python is interpreter based language. In the Python, you have to rectify your error first, then only you can move to the other line. Python is an interpreter based. C or C++ is compiler based. Turbo is the compiler that will be used here. Okay. Even I will tell you one interesting thing. The Python that I am saying, the interpreter, it is written in C language. That means any compiler, any interpreter, any editor, any debugger, any operating system can be written in any language, right? Then I will come to the definition of operating system. An operating system is a software that manages the computer hardware and provides common services for the execution of various application programs. That I have told you that without your operating system, you cannot install your apps. You need one operating system, then only you can install some application over there. For hardware functions such as input and output and memory location, the operating system acts as an intermediate between application program and computer hardware. Then the application software that we have covered, it constitutes all